Urgent calls for calm are mounting after Israeli forces took control of the key Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt. Fears of a full-scale ground offensive have sparked international alarm, with China, amongst other countries, urging swift restraint. Beijing says Israel must stop attacking Rafah and do everything it can to avoid a more serious humanitarian disaster in the Gaza Strip. The European Union also concerned.
I am afraid that this is going to cause again a lot of casualties, civilian casualties. Whatever they say, there are 600,000 children in Gaza. They will be pushed to the so-called safe zones. There is no safe zones in Gaza.
The fate of more than 1 million Palestinians sheltering in Rafah now hangs in the balance. According to UN agencies, Israel's latest moves have virtually choked Gaza off from any outside aid, with both the Rafah and Kerem Shalom crossings now shut. Or they warned aid supplies within the enclave are running low, with just 1 day of fuel stocks as buffer. Or this latest push by Israeli forces into the region comes after a bout of deadly overnight airstrikes. The IDF confirms it has commenced operations within a specific region of eastern Rafah, where it claims most civilians have been evacuated. Meanwhile, truce talks are set to resume in Cairo, with delegations from Israel and Qatar taking part. A senior Israeli official says they will assess whether Hamas can be moved to tweak its ceasefire offer. The prospect of an agreement is unclear, with Hamas slamming the latest incursions into Rafah, accusing Israel of undermining any effort to reach a deal. And for more, Sarah Coates joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, an Israeli delegation heading to Cairo to see if Hamas can, quote, be moved on these ceasefire terms. Does that, for you, suggest a positive or a negative in terms of any truce coming to fruition?
Hello there, Wei-Su. I think what this does show is willingness from the Israeli side to try and find a compromise here with Hamas, to try and come to an agreement to get these remaining 132 Israeli hostages out of Gaza. They have been held there now for more than 210 days. But on the other hand, the Israelis are sending a fairly low-level delegation to Cairo for these talks, so that certainly shows that they potentially aren't expecting too much. Now, on the other hand, we do need to remember just how much pressure the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under right now. He's under pressure from the international community, especially the main ally, the United States, to come to an agreement to stop this war and to get these hostages home. While on the other hand, he's facing severe domestic pressure. I'm speaking specifically here about the far right flank of his government, namely the Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and the National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. They are continually threatening Netanyahu to pull out of the government, to collapse a coalition. And these are the people that keep him in power. Now, also domestically, there's a lot of pressure coming from the family members of these 132 hostages. They are protesting day after day, demanding that Netanyahu do a deal and put the interests of the hostages and the country ahead of any military operation in Gaza. And just to put this into perspective, the latest poll that was conducted here in Israel just a few days ago shows that some 54% of the Israeli public actually believe that getting these hostages home, and they believe that finding a ceasefire is more important than any military operation. Wei-Su.
Sarah, meanwhile, on the ground in Gaza, given that Israeli tanks have been deployed and Palestinian control of the other side of the Rafah border, now that has been lost to Israel as well, is it fair and accurate to say that Rafah offensive has in fact begun?
Well, Israeli officials have been coming out to say, with regards to what we're seeing on the ground today, that this is a fairly limited raid and not this kind of extensive military operation that we have been hearing touted by the Prime Minister Netanyahu. So certainly it could grow in scope, but that is, of course, yet to be seen. Now, the Israelis, they say that this area, Rafah, where they're operating now, is the last Hamas stronghold. They believe that the last 4 Hamas battalions are stationed there, and potentially some of these key figures in Hamas, like Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Israelis do believe that he is potentially hiding down in this labyrinth of tunnels underneath the strip, potentially surrounded by these Israeli hostages. Now, on the ground, there is a lot of fear, there's a lot of chaos, and there are a lot of calls for calm. These people in the eastern part of Rafah, they've been evacuating now for more than 24 hours. But a lot of these people say that they simply have no place safe to go. They're being told, of course, to go to Al-Mawasi, which is on the coastline down in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, and also to Khan Yunis, which, of course, is predominantly in rubble. So certainly a lot of tough decisions for these people on the ground to make. Wei Su.
Thanks for that update. Sarah Courts reporting live from Tel Aviv.